our Money Monday segments, we're talking about credit cards. And today we have Jade Beckman, the VP of Consumer Lending at Mountain America Credit Union, with us, here to talk about credit card basics and some of your rights and your responsibilities. Let's talk about this, because in every credit card commercial we see, it's like a half a page of fine print at the bottom. So what are some of those main terms that are used when you talk about credit cards and all of these things that most people don't understand?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of things in that fine print, Andrew, but let's focus on two things that I think are most important. Number one is the APR, or annual percentage rate, and the second are fees. So let's talk about each of those. The APR is actually not as cut and dry as, say, like a mortgage loan where this is your rate. Some of that's going to be dependent on the transaction type. So say, for example, I use my credit card down at Best Buy, I swipe that, buy a new iPad. That's going to be a purchase transaction, and that's going to go at a purchase rate. Typically, that's the lowest rate. But if I take that same card and I go to the ATM and I take a cash advance on that, that's going to go at potentially a much higher rate on a cash advance rate. So there could be, I could have just one balance, but there could be multiple interest rates being incurred on that balance.
Ooh, that's interesting. In the fine print, anything else we should look for in particular?
Yeah, well, I think let's talk about fees for just a second. So what types of fees could be incurred? An annual fee, for example. There's a lot of free cards out there and a lot of cards that have annual fees. That's just for the privilege of having the card in my wallet. I may have an annual fee. We talked about cash advances. Sometimes it's not just a rate, sometimes it's also a fee incurred in that to take a cash advance. Late fees. When does a late fee occur? A lot of times a late fee is on day one of being late. There's not a grace period.
Grace period or whatever. Sometimes there's like 15 days or whatever the case is.
Right.
How do you know if terms are really good for you or not? How do you get that knowledge or that understanding?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really think it's being aware of what your own situation is and then kind of matching that up to what the card is. So for example, if I'm someone that I use a credit card for all my purchases and pay that off every month, which in most cases I'm going to avoid interest, like we talked about earlier, then I might want to be looking at a card that has great rewards with it. If I'm someone that's carrying a balance, that APR, I want that to be as low as possible.
Extremely low, yeah. Where can we go for some more information? I know you guys have some valuable tools.
Oh, absolutely. On our website at macu.com, there's all sorts of great resources there about credit cards and other financial literacy topics.
And Jade Beckman should know he is the VP of Consumer Consumer Lending at Mountain America Credit Union. Again, thanks for being with us, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Andrew.
it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, Lori.
The annual running of the bulls is a huge tradition.